magnificent setting. You hold me so close, I feel your breath over me. But you never leave, you be with me every day. You will not suffer my foot to be moved. I carry your presence everywhere. Who am I? Your mind is so full of me. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. I am your friend, you call me blessed and praised. Took me from the miry clay, set me on the rock to stay. You will not suffer my feet to be moved. I carry your presence everywhere. Who am I? Your mind is so full of me. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. How do I reconcile the two? His love for me and you. We call him Savior divine, Jesus divine, totally God and totally man. I don't know why you love me so. Undo me, I don't my child. Oh yeah, let go my child. No and no, oh yeah and no. I don't know why you love me so. Undo me, I don't my child. Oh yeah, let go my child. No and no, oh yeah and no. But I may kana sauna ubangiji ya Yesu ina wanda ya kai ka Yesu bangare ba masoyina basanda ya kana sauna ubangiji ya Yesu ina wanda ya kai ka Yesu bangare ba ya ubangiji. You will not suffer my foot to be moved. I carry your presence everywhere. Who am I? Your mind is so full of me. Mortal man, awesome man. Mortal man, awesome man. Mortal man, never could you down. I'm just a mortal man. You are things. There is none. Everything I am is from you, Lord. I'm just a mortal melody. I'm just a mortal melody. You reign, mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God. Mortal man, awesome God.
Mortal man, awesome God. It's a beautiful morning. A beautiful morning right here from the city of Kano. My name is David Channel, and I'm excited to be with you this morning. And so this is
No matter what I go through,
this is
you
the
never failed me, and
very first broadcast after the lockdown for the tripod of life. And so we are ready to start the timeout. So we'll take a music break, and when we're back, we'll start. By then, we should have some people online who are joining us.
That you care so much for me. Oh my Lord, that you're mindful of me. What am I, Lord, that you care so much for me? For me, not nothing. For me, not nothing. For me, not nothing. For me, not nothing. Yeshua, Hamashiach. Call me on Akane, Yeshua, Abashia. Call me on Akane. Masawi Gideon, Masawi Cheto. Masawi Gideon, Masawi Salama. Reina Hanuka, Yesu. Yeshua, Amashiach, call me Anakane. Yeshua, Amashiach, call me Anakane. 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 I'm a Shia, coming on out. All belongs to you, Lord. I'm a Shia, coming on out. Coming on out. Give you my mind, my time, my body, my soul, Lord. It all belongs to you. I'm a Shia. Coming on a parade, Yeshua, Hamashiach, coming on a parade, coming on a parade, give it all to you, coming on my time, my body, my body, it belongs to you, coming on a parade, Yeshua, Hamashiach, I give all to you, Lord. Yeshua, Hamashiach, coming on up. It belongs to you. It belongs to you. Calling on, calling on, calling on, nothing like the Lord, nothing Lord, about you. Calling on, I give all to you, oh God. I'm nothing without you, Lord. Oh.
Hallelujah. All right, it's a beautiful Saturday morning right here from my study in the city of Kano, and I'm glad to bring this to you. It's been a while that we talked and shared stuff on the tripod of life. The tripod of life is a weekly time out of mine where I share my thoughts on the three key issues that I'm passionate about uh, for my life, and I call them my life's work. You know, and they are spiritual development, your walk with God, um, business development and enterprise creativity, as well as relationship and marriage um, the development. So relationship, marriage development, enterprise development, and business activities, business orientation, and then spiritual development and your walk with God. Those are the key areas that I consider as my life's work, as a focus of my activities, my teachings, my orientation, my attitude generally in life revolves around all of these three core areas. And I believe sincerely, if you have a walk with God and you have your vocation in place, and you earn residual income that will be able to sustain you, and so that you can be able to be buoyant enough to give out to others, as well as having a marriage and a relationship that is top notch. You're actually having a tripod in life that will produce fulfillment. It will produce joy. It will produce all kinds of good stuff in your life. All right. So uh, we took a break because of the lockdown occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic. Now that there is ease of lockdown somehow in most parts of the world, and especially in my city of Kano, northwest Nigeria, in coupled with the fact that I took a break from some of the stuff that I have been doing as a result of a lockdown, conducting interviews, trying to bring in a lot of other thought leaders to share their thoughts on how our people can be positioned right during the pandemic and post-pandemic. You know, now that I have the leisure of time and I've been able to carve out this time again on Saturday morning, let's resume our tripod of life. Today, we're looking at your life 10 years from now. All right? We're looking at your life 10 years from now. Where will you be 10 years from now? Where will you be in 10 years in terms of your walk with God, in terms of your relationship and marriage, in terms of your uh, capacity to be able to take care of yourself and your loved ones? Where will you be 10 years? What will be the worth of your account in 10 years? What will be the assets that you have put together that will continue to sustain and generate more assets and more fruit, even after you have left the scene? Because we should build for a long haul and not just for the now. If what you are building is for the now, then there will be that struggle constantly. You will operate in what we call the rat race. If you are building for the long haul, you will take the time to prepare, and after you have executed your plan over a long period of time, you spend the rest of your life and your generation and those after you will enjoy what you have built. One of the reasons why we are not able to leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children is because we live for the now. We do not live for the future. We do not have vision orientation. We do not have what it takes to plan for the future. We do not have a picture of a future that we should feature in. If you have a picture of a future that you will feature in, you will begin to take steps to ensure that that future is a reality by what you do every day, starting today. And so, in 10 years, in 10 years, where will you be? What will be the story of your life 10 years? And I want you to look at certain things, around you that will give you an idea of what 10 years will be like in terms of what your responsibility will be. Let's look at it. If you have if you have if you have a 10-year-old son, in 10 years, that child that child will be 20. If your daughter is 5 today, in 10 years, your daughter will be 15 years. If she is in the third year of secondary school, in 10 years, she should have been done with university education. I want you to also think about you. Maybe you are 35 or you are 40. In 10 years, as a 25-year-old man or as a 25-year-old woman, you will be 35 or 45. So how old you are now will multiply by 10 years. There will be an addition of 10 years in 10 years' time. Very key. Very, very key. And a lot of people don't think about this. We don't think about, the future. We build for the now. We just live for the now. But if you can have a futuristic perspective, your life will make a turnaround, especially if you begin to take steps to ensure that what you want in 10 years is established now. And the truth about the life that we live is the fact that if you live day in, day out, and you don't take any steps, you don't have any clear-cut vision or goals that you need to work on to attain that objective that you see, life will just go on like that, and then time will pass and nothing will be done. The truth is that in life, nothing just happens. Nothing just happens. You need to happen to life. Life does not just drop stuff at you just because you're, alive. Life operates like a car. So let's imagine that a car is your life. Now, for it to move, you have to drive it. So in a way, I'm saying, can you get into your life and actually drive it to the destination you want to go to? So you want to go to, one part of town from where you are now, and then you have a car. And the only way you can get to that part of town is to ensure that you get into the car and drive it there. So it takes you there. So life is a vehicle. Life is a vehicle. And that vehicle needs a driver. And the driver for your own vehicle of life is you. And the only way that life can move from where it is now to where you envision it to be, because you have to envision something. Do you have an idea of where your life should end? Now, you cannot leave that open-ended. It cannot be an open-ended stuff. It cannot be something that you say, okay, everything is in God's hand. After all, I pray, and so whatever I do or do not do does not matter. As long as I am alive and God knows I'm here, He knows what I need, so He will sort me out. It doesn't work that way. Even the Bible says, the desire of a righteous shall not be cut off. Okay, the expectation of a righteous shall not be cut off. If you have a desire, it will be met if you act on it. All right. The Bible says as well that if you ask, you will receive. If you seek, you will find. If you knock, the door will be opened unto you. Right? And it says the steps of a righteous are ordered by the Lord. The steps of the righteous are ordered by the Lord. So who takes the step? All right, you have to take the step. 1 step, 2 step, 3 step. Now, by the way you were configured, God put certain desires and wants in your mind and in your life that you will, look forward to having. Everybody have an idea of the kind of life they want to live. Everybody. So if you like, every single person on the face of the earth has an idea of a vision. It's just that we are not articulating it to the point where we are acting on it. The vision is there in you. God bettered you with it. You were created with it. Now, for some people, that vision is never activated all the days of their lives. It is never activated. It is never made to work. It is there, and it comes by way of expression from what they say. I wish I can have this. All right? The vision. Everybody has got a vision. Everybody. God configured everyone with a vision. He configured every one of us with a vision. Nobody is without one. But the truth is that the difference between a failure and a success is the ability to discover that vision and develop that capacity that will carry that vision to its place of destiny. Now, I was talking about your life being the vehicle, okay? And you are the driver of that vehicle, okay? You are the driver of your life's vehicle. And so you want to travel from here to Port Harcourt, for instance. And let's imagine that Port Harcourt is your vision, okay? Your target, because vision is a picture of your future that you desire, all right? And so that's your destination. That's a vision. The vehicle is the life itself that you live. That vehicle is the life itself that you live. And is a gift that God has given to you. Life is a gift to be used to achieve a purpose. So the life has been equipped like a vehicle is equipped for a journey. And so you will need to get into the vehicle. And if you don't know how to drive, you learn. And so there are a lot of people who do not know how to do life, who were not born knowing how to do life. And that's why we go through tutelage. And so that's a driving school for life. The driving school for life is your walk with God, your understanding purpose, your understanding how life works by studying, by listening to stuff like this, by taking a class, by having a coach, by having a pastor, by having a teacher, by having a mentor, by having a program that helps you to learn how to drive the vehicle of life. Now, when you have understood it, your coaches, your learning processes gives you clarity about where you are supposed to go and tells you the processes that you're supposed to follow. The school of driving life. You can call it the school of life. Your learning curves, everything that you learn based on where you want to go, packages you for you to be able to drive the vehicle of life. And so you get into the vehicle and start to drive it. And you're headed to the direction of your vision. Wow. You are not heading for the direction of another person's vision. We have different destinations, different, locations. There are vehicles going to different parts of the country from where I am now, depending on what their vision is, depending on what their desire is, depending on what they want to attain. So they enter a vehicle and drive. Let me say this to you. A lot of people are not driving the vehicle of their life. It is parked. So they abandon the vehicle of their lives and enter as a passenger in another person's vehicle. And the person drives them anywhere. Just like if you don't have a car, you need to travel to a particular destination, you go to a motor park and your choice of vehicle is limited to the vehicles available at the park. Some people don't even go to the park. Some people don't go to the park. Some people don't go to the park at all. What do? They stand by the highway. And there are people who are also unorganized at all. They don't have an idea of what the vehicle of their life is. They have it inside them, but they go stand by the wayside of life. And anybody who passes by takes them. Yes, they can say, I'm going to so place. Maybe that vehicle is not strong enough to take them, or the journey will be so rough because they are not in control. Somebody else is driving it. Okay. Now, this is such a powerful stuff. I am pausing myself to listen to myself right now. Okay. And so the journey starts with you envisioning a target. Where do you want to be in 10 years or the end of your life? So let's say, where do you want to be in 10 years or at the end of your life? So the best bet is to envision your entire life. This life that I am living, what am I supposed to end with? All right? At the end of this, my life, where am I supposed to end? If you figure that out, write it down. Okay? When you have written it down, there is a point of breaking it into goals. So you have a vision, it has to be broken down into goals. Okay? It has to be broken down into goals. And the goals can be long-term, short-term, medium-term. Yesterday I was listening to the news and the Minister of Finance was talking about the medium-term expenditure framework, all right? Okay, that's the language of the political folks, okay? Every now and then they prepare what is called the medium-term expenditure framework, which is used to prepare every annual budget, right? They use it to prepare every annual budget. Mid-term expenditure framework for you know, serious countries. They have long-term plans, okay, 30 years, 50 years, all right? And so your life has figured out where you want to end at the end of life. God already put it in you. So when you discover it, you articulate it on paper. You're praying about it. But you're asking the question, how do I execute this? How do I get this executed? And so you have your long-term plan. Okay, in 20 years, what do I want? In 30 years, what do I want? In 50 years, what do I want to see? And so you figure that out. You come down to the medium term, 10 years. So for me to be able to achieve the 50-year plan that I believe is God's plan for my life on earth for the rest of my life, what do I need to do every 10 years? So you figure out the first 10 years, second 10 years, third 10 years, till you get the 50, right? So the first 10 years is most crucial after you have discovered. And so you sit back again and say, to achieve the 10-year plan, what do I need to do every year? Just like the politicians and the government institution, they have a 100-year plan. And then they prepare, that's the long-term plan. And then they prepare the medium-term expenditure framework, like we're hearing yesterday, the Minister of Finance talking about. All right? So 3 years. For Nigeria, is 3 years. The mid-term expenditure framework is always 3 years. So every year's budget is based on the 3-year framework. So for you, your 10-year framework needs to be on ground so that every year you plan something so that in 10 years you would have executed that 10 years plan. All right? 10 years plan. And then when you have the annual plan that enables you to plan towards that 10 years, it gives you an ability to have a monthly vision, a monthly goal, a monthly activity, framework. And then you have that. This month's own will help me. If I consistently do this, I will achieve my annual target. And if I achieve my annual target, I will be able to achieve the 10-year plan. If I keep on working on the 10-year plan like that, in 50 years, my life will be what it should be. Okay? And I'll be able to leave something for a legacy for my children and my children's children. A lot of people want their name to be indelible, but they don't do what they think that just getting quick fixes, making an immediate name is what. No, it's a process of time. And it reminds me of the fact that the Bible says that he that has faith does not make haste. Okay, if you have faith, you don't make haste, because this process takes time. It takes time. And so when you have all of this work out, then you come to the point of execution. Now you see that life and attaining success, which is a process, does not happen overnight. Just like you trying to drive from Kano to Port Harcourt does not happen in 1 second or in 1 minute or in 1 hour. So you get the journey planned out. You get the journey planned out. You get the journey planned out before you start. And that's how God works. God saw the end from the beginning. How did he see the end from the beginning? He had everything stretched out and then sketched out. And then he came back to the beginning to start. All right? Otherwise, how come from the foundation of the earth, he prepared the sacrifice called Jesus Christ? Because he knew how the plan will work. So he made provision for every eventuality. And that is to tell you that there is nothing happening to your life that is an accident or a coincidence. Everything was already figured out by God. You are supposed to work in it. And because he has a bigger picture, if you don't work with him, you will be out of the plan and you will be messed up. Okay? So we're back to our discussion. I didn't lose my track. Those digressions were important so that you can get a clear picture of what I'm talking about. Where will you be in 10 years? There are a lot of people who, for the sake of religion, do not plan because they say God will take care of it. God already has asked you to take care of your life, because everything that we need for life and godliness has been provided. It is time for execution. And the only way to execute is for you to walk with knowledge, because without knowledge, you will perish. Okay? And without vision, you will be destroyed. And so most of the time, especially for those of us who are religiously inclined, we lose track of vision, purpose, understanding goals, and how to execute, because we think that everything is in God's hand. No, most of the things are now in your hand. Because when God handed over the world to Adam in Genesis chapter 1, and he told him in verse 28 that he should be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth, he had already finished everything that Adam needed in the physical and imputed in Adam everything that Adam needed in terms of capacity, intelligence, and every kind of know-how to fix the world, be fruitful with it, to multiply it and to replenish it, so that at some point in the work, Adam will continue to have dominion after he has subdued the earth. Do you know that God did not create any other thing apart from the seed that he gave to the world in Genesis chapter 1? After the 6th day, he hasn't created anything. Everything that we see in the world today issued out of all the materials and all the seed items that God put on the earth. Is it cars? God gave us iron. The chair I'm sitting on, the wood that was used to create this shelf, and the books therein, they were all put in a tree. Rubber came out of the rubber tree, isn't it? Every technological know-how, everything God already packaged it in the brain of man. And he didn't need to do anything anymore. Yes, the fall of man gave man, uh, made man to be disconnected from God, which is a vital process in ensuring that the world works well. But God went ahead to make provision ahead of time in Christ Jesus. So when Jesus died and we were reconciled with him, we were back to the pre-Adamic, pre-fall time. All right? We're back to Eden much better because it's a better covenant. And so we are even supposed to operate better than Adam. Creativity, innovation. And so we don't need to wait for God. Many times God put in our hands things that will sort us out for life. We're still going back to him and say, can you see what is happening? And he will always say, what do you have in your hand? 2 times he asked Moses, what do you have in your hand? Use it. At the Red Sea, the Egyptian army behind him, use what you have in your hand. What do you have? And God has already given everything that you need. So back to the question again, as we prepare to round up. What are you going to do with the next 10 years of your life? Side by side, how the rest of your life will pan out. It is you who will figure it out. Because everything you need to figure it out, to plan, to execute, is already packaged. And just in case you're watching and you do not have a relationship with Jesus Christ, I want to tell you, this thing I'm talking about is not going to be easy. All right? You will struggle to make a commitment to Jesus. And it will be easy to discover your purpose. It will be easy to develop your potential. And deploying it will not be with much burden. Okay? I'm not saying you won't have problems, but at this time, you would have the capacity to overcome all problems, because in Luke 10:19, we're told, I give unto you power to overcome all the powers of the enemy. All right? I give unto you power. I give unto you power to trample on snakes and scorpions and to overcome all of the powers of the enemy. All right? And nothing shall by any means hurt you. Nothing shall by any means hurt you. So we have the provision made. We have the provision set by God. All we need to do is to understand how it works so we can begin to drive the vehicle of our life towards the destination. Don't be a passenger in another person's vehicle. God has given you a vehicle called life. Drive it. And so I wish I have enough time to talk about how to begin to, work on your next 10 years. But this primary discussion that we have had, if you do not figure it out, execution will be difficult. So the question I asked you before I wrap up is, have you thought about where you will be in 10 years? Have you figured out the concept of vision? Because vision is a concept in your imagination, all given to you by God. Vision is seeing your future via your mind's eye. And I tell you this for free. Anything you can imagine is possible. Anything. Now, when the Bible says nothing shall be impossible to him that believes, this is part of a process. Nothing that you imagine in your mind's eye is impossible. If you can imagine, if your mind can capture it, it is possible. Now, going on to execute it is a different ball game, but if you can imagine it, it is doable. Anything God does not give you the capacity to imagine, you can't do. Because it has to be first act in the recesses of your mind. Then you begin to bring it into physical reality. So for a lot of people, they have no idea what even next week holds. Everything is in the hand of God. That sounds very religious, but it is not. It is not. It is ignorance. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Without vision, the people perish. So begin to develop a vision board for yourself now. Pick every area of your life and look at 10 years from now. So if you are having issues looking at the rest of your life, just look at 10 years. So let's start with that. Pick a biro and pen and pick 4 key areas of your life, or maybe 5. My work with God, my relationship with God in 10 years, where do I want to be? My vocation, my career, my business in 10 years, where do I want to be? You write it down. My relationship, life, am I married? I'm not married. In 10 years, where would I want to be? In terms of having a family, write it down. Now, as you begin to articulate these things, you'll be shocked the things that you already carried in you that you never explored. Okay? So you go to maybe investments, things that I want to have to my name. Okay? Things that I want to outlast me. I want to build a house, I want to build a business, I want to start a foundation or something. Write it down. So pick the core areas of your life and then write them down. What you want in 10 years. Then after writing them down, come back to them again. In order to get to this in 10 years, what do I need to do every year? Now, that's where the drawing of a vision becomes goal-oriented. You begin to set goals for the year, the next 12 months. When the 12 months goal for each area is ready, what do I need to do every month to meet the annual goal? You go into another time of planning. And then when you have sorted that out, every day will become interesting because you begin to do things. As a matter of fact, time will no longer be enough for you. You begin to look for time because you begin to execute. And let me say this to you, once you have a plan based on a vision and there are clearly spelled out goals, it will be easy to get funding. You will suddenly discover that as you speak about your goals and your desires and what you want to achieve, as you speak about it, people will become interested. As a matter of fact, God himself orchestrates provision for the vision. Where there is no vision, there will not be provision. The person will perish. Provision, God does not waste his provision. So he's looking for a vehicle, a structure. So goals based on right vision that resonates with your heart, that you're passionate about, it attracts provision. And this is not possible to finish in 30 minutes or in 1 hour. It's not possible. Okay? So, my organization runs a mentoring program for people who want to, take a course on vision orientation and execution. You can get in touch with me and we can put you on a plan, on a program for 3 months, for 1 month. We have what is called the 30-hour contact hours. We have what is called the 20 hours, 20 contact hours training on this subject matter. We have 10 hours, depending on what you can do. And we structure the time out in a way that it is convenient for you in this day of technology and ICT. You don't have to be physically in my city. And we can start the program, okay? And see you grow into somebody who has the capacity to be able to do virtually everything that you desire and that you envision, okay? And so we can continue the conversation on my inbox, or if you want to, send me a WhatsApp message so that we can have this conversation on your training on vision orientation. I'll drop my WhatsApp number right now on the screen. If you're watching right now on the screen, you're going to see my WhatsApp number at the comment box. I'm dropping it right now. It's 08094550771, and that's WhatsApp. And you can call me on 081657657354746. And that's my call line. And please, I would prefer that you come for you. Now, if you run an organization and you want to take it to the next level, we can have a conversation. You know, a lot of people don't even have a workable business plan. Not to talk about a business plan that they will use to source for funds. Okay, my organization handles that too, and we try to help a lot of people to get their businesses structured because growth cannot come except there is a structure to put the growth in. If there is no space for growth, growth does not happen in a vacuum. Okay, so um, we can have this conversation thereafter. On next Saturday, I will do a part B, part two of this discussion, which talked about execution and all of that. But again, this is only meant to inspire you, to fire you to start the process. If you need the complete knowledge, which cannot be handled in one video broadcast, please, we need to have a discussion. We need to have a talk so that you can begin the process of, you know, having this vision orientation started and up and running. It's been a pleasure bringing this to you on the Tripod of Life. Like I said earlier, the Tripod of Life is my weekly broadcast on Facebook, and it is transmitted also through Zoom. Right now, we are on YouTube as well, on Gomnet TV. Gomnet is spelled Gomnet, Gomnet. That's Godwin Oguche Media Network, Gomnet TV. If you just, go to Google and search Gomnet TV. Right now, we are live, okay? As we are live on Facebook and we're live on Twitter. And so every Saturday we do this so that we can inspire people and instigate people to take their lives seriously. Because the more serious people that you have on the face of the Nigerian nation, the more our nation becomes better. If you have very few, serious people and a bunch of unserious people, like they say, a tree cannot make a forest. The more people we have, the more the merrier, and then our nation will be better. In fact, your business will be better if you have more understanding people, more people with knowledge that you can share with, and that they will understand the value that you carry more, and they can pay for your value much more than people who are ignorant of what you're talking about or what you're selling or what you're saying, and then they will not be able to, support what you do. So it's important that we, take this very, very seriously. I am excited to do this every Saturday, and I use it to focus on the three core areas of my, you know, uh, orientation as a person. I call it my life work: spiritual development and growth, and your work with God. Um, your career development, your business growth, and how you can, live life in such a way that you are not dependent on anybody. So money in your pocket, and you have the ability to give out. And then finally, the aspect of relationship and marriage. So today and next Saturday, we are focusing. We have talked about this vision orientation in terms of what you need to know about your life in 10 years and what you need to begin to do now towards 10 years. We've talked about a part one of it, which has to do with the introductory part. The part two, it comes up next week, Saturday by 9 a.m. Don't miss this, 9 a.m. And if you have enjoyed this, please, I want you to share it with your friends. And it's important that the subject matter continues so you can take a structured training. If you live in the city of Kano and you want a place where you can worship, receive a word from the Lord, and have beautiful fellowship, please, I'd like for you to join me tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. at the Living Hope International Christian Center. at number 39B Boma Road, Sabogeri, Kano. Our church is opposite the Mega Studios Limited. It's a photo studio very popular on Boma Road. And on our left is the Presbyterian Church. On our right is the Gospel Faith Mission. So we're right there in the middle of the two beautiful houses of God. And our services run from 9 a.m. by 11:30 we are done. We're also transmitting live on this platform. If you're not in the city of Kano, please do well to join our live stream, and you will be blessed. It's always a wholesome time at the Living Hope International Christian Center. So until I come your way again next week, Saturday, it's been your humble servant, Godwin Oguche. God bless you and have a lovely weekend.